MIXTAPE RADIO.
Welcome to MIXTAPE Radio. I'm Mike Shea, and we're back for another week of 5 more bands and 5 more songs from all over the world. This show is brought to you by Cinescape Media. You can learn more about this show and all their other shows by going to their website, cinescape.media. Now, let me break down how this show works every week. I'm going to share clips of songs from 5 different bands and artists, and they're going to be all kinds of different stuff. Rock, rap, hip-hop, EDM, metal, country, blues, whatever the hell else is out there. Nothing is off limits, and I'm going to tell you who these talented folks are and where you can find their tunes so you can check them out for yourself. And at the end of every month, I'll do a special episode where I create a mix of my favorites from the last month. However, this week's episode is a little bit different. In honor of the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake, all the music we're featuring on today's show was inspired by the legendary original game from our childhoods. But enough talking for now. Let's get into the music. Materia Collective is a special music label that specializes in video game music and soundtracks. And in 2015, they released a collaborative album called Materia Final Fantasy VII Remixed, with a large number of artists coming together to do their own take on the game's music. Opening off the album is vocalist Dale North doing an impressive operatic vocal interpretation of the game's main theme. Let's take a listen. That was Dale North's interpretation of the Final Fantasy VII main theme from Materia Final Fantasy VII Remixed, released through Materia Collective. Pick up the full album at the link down in the description. Now, we all know that video games are something that is predominantly geared towards kids, at least that's how it used to be. So it's fun when we get a truly childlike take on a video game music. There's a group out of Seattle called Video Game Music Box, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Video game tunes done in the style of a classic child's music box. And I love a good contrast. So let's hear their music box take on the old school Final Fantasy VII combat music. That was Video Game Music Box with their take on the classic Final Fantasy VII combat music. You can get their entire Final Fantasy VII themed album, Music Box Classics Final Fantasy VII, at the link down below. Now, all of the music featured on today's show was purchased legally through Bandcamp, but we also love it when we get music sent to us by you guys. If you'd like to have your music shared on this show, just send an email to mixtaperadiopod@gmail.com. Tell me your name, a little about your style, where your stuff can be found online, and, most important of all, a song you'd like to have played. If you don't send me music, this whole thing just kind of falls apart. We answer every email that we get, and we check that mailbox daily, so don't waste any time. Send us your music to mixtaperadiopod@gmail.com. Now, we haven't done a whole lot of rap and hip-hop on this show yet because, as I've said before, I'm super picky when it comes to that style of music. And I found this album released by these 2 talented artists named Mega Ran and Lost Perception. They teamed up and released an album called Black Materia Final Fantasy VII. It's a full album of rap and hip-hop remixes of songs from the original game. Yes, you heard me right. And they've written original lyrics that encapsulate the themes and the atmosphere created by each of the tracks. Now, we all know one of the most beloved pieces from Final Fantasy VII is Tifa's theme, and these guys really did justice to the song with their interpretation. Let's listen to Mega Ran and Lost Perception's take on Tifa's theme.
I mean, so inch by inch till we almost made it topside. Then she grabbed my hand when she called a rock slide. I yelled. It might have sounded like I cried. We both crashed down on the rock floor. A 12-foot drop, but felt like a lot more. I black out till the ambulance shows up. I was on crutches, but she was in a coma. Yeah, I was hurt, but I was worried about Tifa. Her dad starts tripping, telling me I can't see her. Man, crushed like red pepper. Think I felt tears from her.
That was Mega Ran and Lost Perception with their reimagining of Tifa's theme. Pick up their full album, Black Materia Final Fantasy VII, now at the link in the description. And hey, if you'd like to stay up to date with this show, get more involved, be a part of the team, as it were, you can follow us on social media. Mixtape Radio is on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram using the handle mixtaperadiopod. Follow along so you can let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, and even send us some music for the show. Now, look, we can't talk about Final Fantasy without bringing up everyone's favorite birds, the Chocobos. They're fun, they're adorable, and they have a great theme song of their own. So why not check out a good old-fashioned techno remix from an artist named Micah? They dropped a Final Fantasy tribute album in 2013 called Triple Triad, and on that album is their take on the Chocobo theme. Let's check it out. That was Micah with their remix of the Chocobo theme from their album Triple Triad. Pick it up at the link in the description. Now, there's not a lot of time left in today's show, folks, but before we get to our final song, I wanted to let you guys know that you can be a part of the team here at Mixtape Radio by joining our Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/mixtaperadiopod, and for only $3 a month, you can become an executive producer of Mixtape Radio. You get all kinds of cool rewards, and you can help us continue to purchase all the music we play on this show from the artists themselves so they can continue to make their awesome music. Now then, I have just one more song for you guys today, and if you didn't think I'd be bringing a heavy metal take on Final Fantasy VII, then you clearly don't know me that well. Night of the Round are a band from Lake Station, Indiana, and back in February, they dropped a special tribute album for Final Fantasy VII called 7. It's brutal, it's intense, and it's face-melting. But the album doesn't sacrifice the beauty and complexity of the original music just for the sake of being heavy. It's a thoughtful and respectful tribute to one of the greatest video games of all time. So let's wrap up this show with Night of the Round's take on the Shinra Incorporated theme song. That was Night of the Round with their heavy metal version of the Shinra Incorporated theme from their Final Fantasy VII tribute album, 7. Pick it up online at the link in the description. Well, I hate to say it, but that brings us to the end of the show. I know, I'm sad too, but not to worry. We'll be back again next week. 5 new artists, 5 new songs. Make sure you follow us on all the social media at Mixtape Radio Pod. Remember, if you'd like your music featured on the show, just send an email to mixtaperadiopod@gmail.com, and you can become an executive producer of the show by going to patreon.com/mixtaperadio. This show is a proud member of Cinescape Media. To learn more about everything they've got going on, go to their website at cinescape.media. I'm Mike Shea, and this has been Mixtape Radio. We'll catch you next week, and until then, as always, support your local musicians.